Hello and welcome to Train Signal. You're watching video number 8, Migrating Physical Servers to Virtual Servers, P2V Conversion. This is part of Fast Track CBT Video Lab, Microsoft Virtualization, Virtual PC and Server. In this video, we'll learn about physical to virtual conversion, or P2V conversion. We'll learn about the Microsoft Solutions Accelerator for migrating and consolidating line of business applications, the virtual server migration tools. There's a variety of tools available. We'll learn how to perform a physical to virtual conversion, and then we'll look at our scenario with the Blue Crab Food Company and see how this physical to virtual conversion can help them. So first, let's talk about P2V conversion, or physical to virtual conversion. This is becoming more and more popular, and for good reason. It can be done using a number of popular virtualization products, Microsoft Virtual Server, of course, being a popular choice, but there's also other products like VMware Server, which used to be VMware Server GSX. It's free, just like Microsoft Virtual Server. It's a very good product. And then on the higher end, there's VMware Server ESX, which is an operating system in itself just designed for virtualization. There are also a number of other common virtualization applications that can be used. But what are the reasons that you would want to consolidate your physical servers to your virtual servers? Well, here's a graphic that shows some of the most common reasons. Now, this graphic is taken from the Microsoft Solutions Accelerator for migrating and consolidating line of business applications, found at this web link. In fact, we're going to be installing and reviewing that accelerator application, or package, I should call it. Now, this graphic here shows us that there's a lot of different reasons, for virtualization, but the most common reasons are right here in the center. Operational efficiency. So if you can go to one VMRC, little console, or one web-based interface, and you can control all your servers right from there, and you could, say easily increase the RAM or increase the disk space within seconds. You could easily clone and copy virtual machines. It makes your operational efficiency very high. So that's a common reason. Another reason is cost effectiveness. Sure, you still have to buy your Windows Server licenses, but if you don't have to buy a physical piece of hardware, you're saving a ton of money right there. Plus the power to power that hardware, the UPS, maybe the generator backup, all the infrastructure that goes behind that hardware, cooling that hardware, air conditioning, all these things are going to save you money. Plus, you'll save time in the efficiency, just the efficiency of virtualization. Then there's the security and sustainability. So being able to, easily do a lease replacement. Say you have a server on lease, you get a new one to replace it. You can just copy the virtual machine over there, and you're up and running. The sustainability. Say you have disaster recovery, a disaster recovery plan, and you get hit with a disaster. Say you just restore all your virtual machines at the disaster recovery site and run them on, any server that they happen to have available at that data center, and you're up and going. Security. There's not any more physical, or there's many fewer physical servers, to physically secure. So there's so many different reasons for virtualization, but these are just some of the most common reasons. Now, keep in mind that not every application is suited to be virtualized. High performance, high demand applications, might not be ideal for virtualization. Or you might have to spend more money to get a higher end virtualization product like VMware ESX that really can take that high demand that maybe that application requires. Keep in mind that there's also third-party tools, some of which we'll be talking about in a future video, that can help you in the efficiencies of using virtualization. They can save you time and help you perform common virtualization tasks faster. So now let's go on and learn about this Microsoft Solutions Accelerator. Microsoft offers a free package designed to assist in medium to large scale consolidation of physical to virtual servers. This package is called the Microsoft Solution Accelerator for migrating and consolidating line of business applications. It's got a really long name, but what it really is it's a collection of Microsoft Word documents, Excel spreadsheets, and there is a database in there. and it's a valuable package for anyone who's considering or planning a physical to virtual conversion of multiple machines. Now, I mean, if you have 4 servers and you're going to consolidate those onto one, I don't consider that a medium, to large scale consolidation. It's something that you should be able to, accomplish yourself. And this solutions accelerator here might be overkill, but on the other hand, it might still give you some good tips. But this solutions accelerator, it really is designed for people who are perhaps consolidating hundreds of servers into, tens of servers. So it's designed for a larger scale consolidation. But let's take a look at this Solutions Accelerator. I want to download it, install it, and show it to you. So it talks about the benefits of, virtualization and consolidation. Inside here, there's an overview. There's a decision tree that assists you in making the decision. There's an introduction to virtual server. There's a planning guide for virtual server, an implementation guide for virtual server, and a testing guide for virtual server. And then there's a test kit with cases, scripts, and results. So it's got a lot of different pieces to it. If you go up here, we can click on the download link. Here it tells you about it. It's 2.4 megabytes. And if we go up here, we'll click continue. I'm going to pass on registration today and proceed to the download. I'm going to save it to my desktop. It was 2.3 megabytes. I'll go ahead and say run. It's an MSI installer. I'll say run here. We can close this out. This will go through and install it. It is a free product. Tells you where it's going to be installed. I'm going to install it on my desktop. For just me, I'll say next. It doesn't take long to install. It's a small application. All right, that's done. Now, originally when I installed it, I went over here to Start Programs, and I started looking for the application because I didn't see it. But really what this does is it just installs this folder right here. And then inside this folder, you'll find the Word documents and the different tools, the test kit. So if we open up the overview, here we get an overview of what the package can do. It helps you with the decision to consolidate and migrate, the efficiency, the cost effectiveness, the migration methods, consolidation methods, the benefits, and in here you'll find a lot of good information. In fact, here's the diagram that I showed you a little bit earlier in the video. So that's the overview. There's a decision tree here. To help you with the process of, analyzing the different applications and understanding what you're doing, mapping the solution to the right results. This is a 107-page document, by the way. So there's a lot of information in here. There's a planning guide, implementation guide, testing guide. Inside the test kit, there's a Visio document. Let's take a look at that. It's a Visio document that shows the lab infrastructure. There is a database, and then there are some Excel spreadsheets so you can document your test results. So that's the Solution Accelerator for consolidating and migrating line of business applications, free from Microsoft. Um, it's a valuable tool for someone who's doing a medium to a large scale consolidation or migration of physical to virtual servers. Now let's talk about the process of performing a physical to a virtual conversion. Now this process of converting the physical machine to a virtual machine can really be summed up in a few steps. Basically, you're moving the operating system, the applications, and the data over to the virtual machine. You have to replace the physical drivers with the virtual drivers. For example, you're going to have a different type of hard drive, different type of CPU, and a different type of network adapter. All these are all your physical CPU, disk, and network adapters, and potentially other types of adapters are going to be replaced with these new virtual adapters. So you have to deal with that. And then you have to be careful to watch for things like drive letters. You know, if you're fortunate, you're migrating a computer that has a C drive to a computer that has another C drive. On the other hand, on your current physical server, you could have a server that has 6 different drive letters, you know, all that point to different RAID arrays and different configurations, different drive sizes, and you know, mapping that or recreating that on the virtual server is something that you may have to do. All created with virtual disk drives with the appropriate, you know, drive letters. Then there's verifying the networking and naming. You know, you're moving from one server to another. Do you need to create you know, potentially create a static IP address name? You know, if you're backing up and restoring or doing imaging, no, you don't. But you just need to verify that everything works and the networking and naming, you know, is still functioning after you do the migration. And then especially your applications. You're going to have to test your applications. Then finally install the virtual server additions. You know, part of the process, of course, would be sizing the virtual server. You know, how big do you make this virtual server? Can the virtual server support the physical server's, you know, current demands? Does it have enough RAM? Does it have enough CPU processing power? These are all things you need to take into consideration. And the planning guide is a great way to read about, you know, all the possible things you need to consider. When I say the planning guide, I'm talking about the Microsoft Solution Accelerator. So let's scroll down here a little bit and talk about how there are multiple ways of moving the physical computer to a virtual machine. I've listed out some possibilities here that I came up with. These are really the most common ways. You might find your own way of doing it because there's multiple ways of doing this. One of the easiest way, and I don't know that it's really a P to V conversion method, but and the easiest way is just to create the new virtual machine, install the operating system, install the applications that were on the original machine, and then just copy over the data for the applications that you need. You know, of course, that's the easiest and most ideal way of doing it because you're starting completely fresh. You don't have to worry about drivers or anything like that. So if your application can support that, you know, if that will work for you, then by all means, I recommend doing it that way. However, many times people have a server that, you know, has specialized applications, some specialized, you know, data that has to, you know, work with those applications, and it's very painful to reinstall those applications and get the data to work again with the new installation. So the other methods that I list down here are all methods that create some sort of backup or image of the current physical server and then move it into the virtual server without you having to reinstall the operating system. So the first one I list here is back up the physical machine and restore it to the virtual machine, then deal with the driver issues. So to do this, you could use, say, NT backup. You could back up your entire computer with the operating system state included. You could move it out to a shared network drive. You could reinstall your operating system on the virtual machine. You could then restore the backup over on top of your operating system, and then you could reboot, and then you could run a Windows repair to try to fix the driver issues. So that's one method of doing it. Another method, and my most preferred method, is this one right here. Use Ghost or some other imaging software to image the physical machine to a virtual machine and then deal with the driver issues by running a Windows repair. Now, the easiest way, in my experience, is to use Ghost, but you could use any other imaging product, and you put the Ghost executable inside a BART PE bootable CD. BART PE is something you can download free from the internet. Basically, it's a runnable version of Windows XP without any sort of need to install anything on the disk. So it's a fully self-contained Windows uh, executable environment, and inside that environment you can place some applications. So you place the Ghost executable in there, and then what you do is you boot your physical machine with this CD. It boots up into this BART PE environment. You use the Ghost executable to access the physical computer, create an image of it, and you put that image out on a network share. Then you go to your new virtual machine and you boot BART PE again. You run Ghost, and then over the network share, you restore the Ghost image to the new virtual machine. Then you run a Windows repair, and it fixes it. So, or it fixes the drivers, I should say. The Microsoft virtual machine drivers will be installed on top of the current physical drivers. It'll repair that driver issue. So I know it sounds pretty complicated, but really it's the easiest and cleanest way, in my experience, to move from a physical to a virtual machine. And with the exception of the imaging software that you buy, like Ghost or whatever software you buy, it's free and you can do it as much as you want. Then there's some other tools down here that you can either buy or get from Microsoft. The first one is the one from Microsoft. It's called the Microsoft Virtual Server Migration Toolkit. And if you go to, Google, you type in MS or I'm sorry, VSMT space virtual server, space Microsoft, you'll be sure to find the Virtual Server Migration Toolkit. It is a free virtual server migration toolkit, which sounds great, but the catch is that it requires this ADS. ADS also requires Windows Server 2003 Enterprise. So setting all this stuff up is no small task. But let me go and show you at least the website for these packages. If I open Google, I typed in VSMT Microsoft, brings me to the Microsoft Virtual Server 2005 Migration Toolkit. This is a great tool. It's a free tool, but it's also not a very easy tool to get, up and running. Once you get it up and running, I'm sure it's a great product, but it's just not too easy to get up and running. So if you scroll down here, it talks about how this product can be used to migrate from physical machines to virtual machines. Comes with a setup program, release notes, and installation instructions. But the catch is here, it requires ADS 1.0 and Virtual Server 2005. If you scroll down, we can learn about ADS by going up here. Here it is, ADS, Automated Deployment Services. If we click on that, it tells us about Windows 2003 ADS, Automated Deployment Services. And ADS 1.0, if you scroll down here, it tells you is an add-on to Windows 2003 Enterprise Edition. So really you need Enterprise Edition of Windows up and running, then ADS, then the Virtual Server Migration Toolkit. And this uses Pixie, or the pre-boot execution environment, to build and deploy virtual servers. And in fact, ADS can be used to deploy other things, not just virtual servers, but the Virtual Server Migration Toolkit uses ADS to image, existing servers and then make those bootable images into your virtual servers where they're restored back into a virtual machine. So that's how you do the physical to virtual conversion, is with the help of ADS, booting up these virtual images created by ADS, and then using the VSMT to move those images into virtual server. So that's the free Microsoft VSMT that requires ADS and Windows 2003 Enterprise Edition. No small task, but it is a free product, and it should be a very usable product once you get it all up and running. Next one is LeoStream's P2V Direct. This is a commercial product that has a cost, but it has a lot of features like no reboot and less downtime for the conversion from physical to virtual. You can download a trial of it at this website here, leostream.com/trial. So let's go take a look at that. Leostream.com, Leostream. And here they talk about their P2V Direct automated conversion without reboot product. So this is a product designed to help you convert from your physical servers to your virtual servers. They have webinars on it. We'll click here to learn more about it. It goes through here the features, less downtime, extensive hardware support, no reboot, less risk, flexible VM network properties. You can run parallel conversions, convert across wide area networks, all sorts of things. It has wizards, and it is compatible with Microsoft Virtual Server. There's a free trial. If you go to this form here, you can download that. So that's the trial if you want to try it out yourself. Of course, this isn't a free product. If you go into the frequently asked questions, well, actually, let's click on Buy Now so I can show you how much it costs. It's a 20 pack of non-repeatable P2V licenses with support. So it's $2,400 for a 20 pack, and it's non-repeatable. So you can convert 20 physical to virtual computers, and then that's it. Your license, is up. So at a cost of $2,400. So it saves you time, might save you a lot of headache and hair pulling, but of course there is a significant cost to doing it. All right, the next product is PlateSpin's Power Convert, and this is a commercial product as well. It has a lot of advanced features like LeoStream. So let me click on this link here and let's take a look at PlateSpin. So PlateSpin has this product called Power Convert. Anywhere, anytime access to automated conversions between physical servers, virtual machines, and image archives. It says it's $280 per conversion with up to 5 conversions can be done. So that's just another commercial product. I'm not recommending, either one of these. In fact, my preference is this Ghost method up here, but also that takes a lot more time and you could run into some issues, whereas hopefully these commercial products down here costing more money would give you less downtime and some more benefits. So with that, let's move on to our scenario. In our scenario with the Blue Crab Food Company, they have a production web server that uses very little system resources. It's on a very old server that needs to be replaced. So rather than buying a new server, getting it shipped in, installing it in the rack, installing the operating system, connecting it to a UPS, getting electricity and networking cables run to it, rather than going through all that, they've decided to do virtualization or perform a physical to virtual conversion on this server. So our task to perform for the Blue Crab Food Company is do a P2V conversion with whatever method possible to get this web server virtualized and into Microsoft Virtual Server. So this could be done with a number of different methods that we talked about previously. In my case, I'm going to use BART-PE and Ghost to do this. Now, because I can't demonstrate to you, I can't record a physical server and show you the BART-PE and the Ghost process of imaging that server, what I'm going to choose to do is to take our existing Windows XP virtual server, and let's pretend that that is a physical server. And I'm going to do that because I can show you on the screen exactly how the whole process works. And that's what I want to do. I want to show you the whole process, not just part of the process. So to do this, I'm going to take our virtual server. I'm going to create an image of it using BART PE and Ghost, and then we'll create a new virtual server and we'll bring the image in using BART PE and Ghost onto the new virtual server. Now, of course, if I really had a virtual server and I just wanted to create a duplicate of it, I could easily do that by the cloning methods that we talked about previously, essentially copying the virtual disk and modifying the config and having it back up, almost instantly. But I'm demonstrating the BART PE and the Ghost method here because I'm simulating what you would do to convert from a physical server to a virtual server. So with that, let's get started. So first, I'm going to minimize our slides, and let's go open up our virtual server web-based administrative console. So let's turn on this virtual server, because what I want to do is I want to show you what the desktop looks like now, and we're going to put an icon in there just to demonstrate that this server has some unique data. Now, in the case of the Blue Crab Food Company, they said that they have a web server that's very important to them, and many times it can be difficult to move all the applications and data and maybe third-party products you might have installed with that web server over to a virtual server. So that's why the P2V process can really assist you in imaging that whole server and bringing it over instead of trying to reinstall all your different products and then restore the data. So I'm going to click on this so that we can do remote control and we can see this server boot up. All right, so we're at a login here. I'm going to log in to the server. Oh, you know what? We're logging on to the domain when our domain controller is not available because our domain controller is one of the other virtual servers. So this is going to die here in just a second. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to log on locally. All right, let's log on locally. Let me verify my password here. Ah, misspelled my username. There we go. All right, we'll get logged on. So right here on the desktop, I'm going to make a folder and I'm going to call this Blue Crab Food Data. Let's just say that this is important data and there's an application that goes with this data that has to be imaged and brought over from this physical server, this is our physical server, to our new virtual server. So keep in mind, this is our physical server here. We're going to image this server and bring it over into our new virtual server. So the first thing I need to do is I need to shut it down. All right, and the server's turned off. Let's go back to our master status. And I'm going to modify the configuration of this server. I'm going to scroll down here and go into the CD drives. And currently this computer has no media in the CD drive. What I'm going to do is I'm going to mount my BART PE and Ghost image. If I minimize this, let me show you what I have. I have over here on my G drive, which is where I keep my ISO images. I've got this BART PE with Ghost. So this is a 166 megabyte image file that's a bootable CD. It's a pre-built executable environment operating system of Windows, and it's got Ghost inside of it. What I'm going to use is I'm going to use this to ghost the entire hard drive on that computer as is while that hard drive's shut down. So this is called BART PE with Ghost. I'm just going to copy that, go back over here, and use a known image file called g:\bartpe with ghost.iso. I'll say OK there. So that's going to be our boot CD. We're going to boot from that CD. So I'm going to turn this on. Actually, let's turn it on by opening up the VMRC. And what we want to do is to get it to boot off of that CD. Here we go. It automatically did boot off that CD. It says starting BART PE. Please wait. And it looks just like Windows XP Professional, but it's a modified version. And BART PE is downloadable free off of the internet. Ghost, of course, you have to purchase. You could also use some other imaging software. Now notice we don't have the virtual machine additions installed in this, so I cannot get my mouse out of here. Let's see if we're going to be able to view this whole screen. Yes, we can resize this, but we can't see the whole thing. Let's see if we can change the resolution on this. I'll say yes, I want to start network support. I'm going to use DHCP. Before we do DHCP, we need to put this computer back on our real network. So I'm going to get out of this. We need to modify this computer to be not on the test network, but on the real network. Because what I'm going to do is create a network share and send the image of this over to this host computer that's going to be our network share. So we're going to attach this to the wireless network. Okay, let's go back here. And let's say, okay, we want DHCP. Okay, so this is our virtual network adapter here. I'm going to say okay. Let's see if we can get an IP address. Let's try going full screen with this, so see if we can see the whole screen. There we go. There we go. Hopefully you can see that full screen. So now I can access the command or the go button down here. So let's do a command prompt. Let's see if we have an IP address. Sure enough, we do have an IP address and it's on my local LAN, same as the host computer. All right, so now what I can do is go down here to Go. And inside programs, I've created this ghost image. So I can run Ghost 32. And this is going to allow me to image this computer to a network share. So first, let's create our network share. So I'm going to have to get out of full screen mode. Let's minimize this. And what I'm going to do is share this G drive on the network. Let's create a new share. I'm just going to call it G. And permissions are going to be full control for everyone. This is just on my local LAN, and I've created my new share, and my computer is, let's verify my IP address, 192.168.1.104, and it's going to be the G share. So if I go back here, and let me do full screen again. All right, the next thing I need to do is to map my network drive over on this computer. So to do that, I'm going to go to Go here. I'm going to use the command prompt. I will do a net use G:, the IP address of my computer. I'll have to log on. Now I can go to G drive, do a dir, and there we go. I have my shared network disk. I can exit out of that. Now here on Ghost, I can go to local. I can do that I want to ghost a disk to an image. That's what I want to do. Do a disk to an image. This is my 6 gig virtual disk right here that I want to ghost to an image. And on your physical computer, it would be exactly the same. All this is just the same. So I want to ghost this over to my network drive. And here I'm going to call it, give it a name, WinXP. File type is ghost. That'll be fine. It really doesn't matter because I'm going to use ghost to restore it. Do I want to compress the image file? I want it just to be as fast as possible. Do I want to proceed? Yes. All right, now, according to the estimate here, this could take at least 3 minutes, if not more, to take this 6 gig image across my network and over to my local host computer on my network share. So currently this would be like I'm on my physical computer, and across the network I'm sending my entire computer's physical hard drive to a network share. So if you have some huge file server, you know, this could be a few hundred gigabytes even of data that you are moving across the network. So this could take a significant amount of time, and you'd have to have a significant amount of space available on the other server. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the video recording. I'll pause the video recording, and as soon as this is complete, I'll resume recording. I'll be right back. All right, the creation of the image using Ghost was successful. Let me go back here and I'll show you. You can see it completed. It took 4 minutes and 26 seconds to create a 6 gig image file. It says it was completed successfully, so I'm going to say OK there. And now we're done with this virtual machine. I'm going to quit. And remember, this is our physical computer. That's what we're on right now, our physical computer. We just ghosted the image to a shared network folder. So now we can power off this computer. I'm going to get out of full screen. Minimize that. Let's go over here and let's power off this computer. This is our physical computer. We just imaged everything and we just turned it off. So that physical computer, that old web server from the Blue Crab Food Company, it's done with. We don't need it anymore. We imaged everything off of it, and our next task is to create the new virtual server that we're going to be moving that physical computer to. So I'm going to go here to the master status first. Everything's off. I'm going to go create a new virtual machine. And this, we will call it the BC Virtual Web. We'll give it 256 megabytes of RAM. That's what the old server had. It's not a very heavily used web server. I'm going to give it a 6 gigabyte IDE hard drive. Going to connect it to our internal wireless network, just like the host computer is here. And I'll say create. All right, we created it. Now we're going to scroll down and we're going to modify the CD drive. We're going to mount it. From the G colon BART PE disk. So let me go get the exact path for that. G colon BART PE with ghost.iso. So I'm going to copy that, go back over here, going to do G colon backslash BART PE with ISO dot, or with ghost.iso, excuse me. All right, so I'll say OK there. All right, so now when we turn this on, this new virtual machine, which is replacing our physical machine, will mount the BART PE with a ghost image. We'll boot up into BART PE, and then we'll take the image file that's over on our network share. In fact, let's go look at that in just a second. We'll take that image file and we'll restore it onto our new virtual machine. After that, we'll run a Windows repair to fix the drivers. So let's go take a look at this. Over on my computer, the G drive, right here, here's our ghost image file, 845 megabytes. That's all it is. It was a 6 gig hard drive, but only 845 megabytes were really used, and it's called WinXP, and it's our ghost image file. So this is going to be the image for our new web server. This is going to be the disk that we'll be putting back onto our new virtual web server. So close this out. So now let's go and we can start up this new virtual web server. I'm going to go here to turn on. Go over here to the administrative console. We'll click on this. So now we're booting the BART PE with ghost image. Take just a second to boot up. All right, and we're in BART PE. This is on our new virtual computer. Yes, we want network support. We connected this to our production wireless network so that we can get that image. I'm going to do DHCP. All right, I'll say OK, and we'll obtain an IP address automatically. Okay, let me go into full screen. Okay, let's go to a command prompt because I just want to make sure that we have an IP address. Sure enough, we do. So now what we can do is we can map that same network drive over here. (104/G). Log in as myself. And we mapped it successfully. If I go to the G drive and do a dir, there's our winxp.ghost. That's our image we're going to restore onto our new virtual server. So to do that, I'm going to go to Go here. I'm going to open Ghost version 8. This is just an executable we copied over into BART PE to make this work. Of course, you do have to buy Semantic Ghost to make this happen. So now what I want to do is I want to bring a local disk from an image. See, I want to go from an image to my disk. So to get to that image, I'm going to go to this G drive, which I already mapped. And here's our WinXP Ghost image. It tells me I have a 6 gig local disk that it's going to put this image on. I'll say OK. And it asks me the destination drive details. There was the old size. Here's the new size. Am I OK with that? Yes, I'm fine with that. And it says, do you want to proceed with the restore? The destination drive will be permanently overwritten. Hey, that's fine with me because there's no data on that destination drive, right? That's a virtual drive that I just created. So I'll say yes here, and the restore begins. So we know the backup took 4.5 minutes. The restore could take that long as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the video recording, and I'll be right back as soon as the restore is completed. All right, we're back, and the restoration of that image from the image file onto our new virtual server is complete. Let me go over here and show you. All right, it says the clone completed successfully. So here we can reset the computer or continue. I'm just going to say continue. And now we can just exit full screen. And what I'll do is I'll just minimize this, go back to our web-based interface here, and I'm just going to turn off that new virtual server. So at this point, just for review, we imaged our original physical server using BART-PE and Ghost to create an image file over a network share. Then we created our new virtual server that physical server is going to move to. We booted the new virtual server with BART-PE and Ghost, and we took the image file from the old physical server and moved it onto the hard drive, actually created the exact replica of the hard drive on the new virtual server. Now the only catch left, or the only problem left, is the old the old server has different drivers for the disk, the network, and CPU. So those drivers need to be replaced with the proper drivers. So to do this, we're going to do a Windows repair installation, which will repair the drivers on our new virtual server, and it'll put on the proper drivers. So to do this, we're going to boot our new virtual server off of the Windows installation CD. Now, if this was server, of course, Windows 2003 server, you'd boot off of that CD. In our case, what I did is I imaged a Windows XP workstation, so I'm going to boot off of that CD. So to do that, I'm going to go down here and change our CD that's in our boot drive, and I'm going to put in the path here for a Windows XP boot CD. In fact, the same CD we installed the operating system from. So it's on G drive, and let's see, where's the name right here? Here's the name of the CD we used to install that operating system. So I'm going to copy that, I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to put it in right here, G:// there's the name of it, .iso, and that'll be our boot drive when this new virtual server boots up. So now what we can do is go and turn it on, and I'll go back here to the VMRC. It says it's running. I'm going to click on that so we can see what's going on, and we want to boot off the Windows CD. So it said press any key to boot from the Windows CD. I quickly pressed the key so that we didn't miss that. All right, now Windows is going to boot up, and what we need to do is do a repair installation. Notice the name up here says BC Virtual Web. This is our new virtual server, and we're booting the Windows CD on that virtual server. We already have a Windows operating system on there that we cloned from the other computer, but we need to modify the drivers. Okay, here it says you're about to install a evaluation version. That's fine. To set up Windows XP now, press enter. I'm going to press enter because I don't want to go in the recovery console. I'm going to agree to the licensing agreement. Now it's searching for a previous version of Windows, which it will find, and it did find. Now it says to repair the selected Windows XP installation, press R. So I'm going to press R. So it's going to examine my hard drive. It's going to check out the Windows installation. It's going to delete the drivers that it doesn't need and replace it with the drivers that it does need. Now, in my experience, this can take a few minutes. So what I'm going to do is minimize this. Again, I'm going to pause the recording, and I'll be right back as soon as the Windows XP repair installation is completed. Okay, we're back, and I'm going to go down here and bring up our console. our VMRC console for the BC Virtual Web server. And so let me tell you what happened while the recording was paused. I went through the regular text-based installation, repair installation, I should say, of Windows, where it copied all the drivers and it updated everything. And then it went into the GUI installation, and it looks a lot like a fresh installation of Windows, where it asks you for the license code for Windows, and it asks you, to verify the time and date and things like that. All in all, it took about 40 to 50 minutes for the repair installation to complete. And, during the installation, I started thinking, gee, did I select the right choice? I know I selected R for repair, but I didn't think it was going to take this long, or I didn't remember it taking this long, because it looked a lot like it was doing a full Windows installation. But when it was done, it came up to this screen here, and we can go ahead and log in and see that everything worked. So what I'm going to do is just press right Alt Delete to log into my virtual server. We want to make sure we log in locally because I don't have my domain controller up. I'm going to log in with the local administrator's account. And I can already see that we have done a successful repair and a successful P2V conversion. How I can tell that is I've got my Blue Crab Food data folder right here that was on the original physical server when I started the imaging of that server with the BART PE and the Ghost software. So that's the BART PE image that created the image of this computer, and in doing that, it took the Blue Crab Food data folder that I created on the desktop just to represent the applications and data that were on the original physical server. We can also go in here to Start and right-click on My Computer and go to Properties. You can see here the computer name is bcwinxp1.bluecrabfood.com. The other thing I can tell is I can move my mouse in and out of this screen without any problems. That tells me the virtual machine or virtual server editions for Windows XP were already installed on this workstation. So I didn't have to do any of that when I did the P2V conversion. Now that, in this case, that's because I started with a virtual server as my image. Normally you wouldn't be doing that, right? So you would have to go in here and install the virtual machine editions. But the main thing here is that the Blue Crab Food data is here. The name of the server is still here. All of our settings, the password for administrator, everything that we had on this workstation is still here, even after the P2V conversion. So I'm going to minimize this, and let's go back to our scenario. All right, just to review what we did is we used the BART PE CD that's bootable. We booted our physical computer. We used the Ghost software that I'd placed on the BART PE CD when I created it. We used that Ghost software to create an image on the network of that computer's hard drive. Then we went over to our new virtual server. We created that new virtual server. We booted it from the BART PE CD. We ran Ghost, and then over the network, we mapped that shared drive. Then we used BART to recreate everything that was on the hard drive from the physical computer on the virtual computer's hard drive. We rebooted that new virtual computer from the Windows installation CD. We did a repair installation of Windows, which fixed the drivers, and then the virtual server was complete. So that's how we did the P2V conversion. Of course, we talked about there's numerous ways to do the P to V conversion, and I simulated the original physical server using a virtual server. That way I could show you actually the whole process. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to show you the process. So I hope that gives you a good overview of just one way of doing a P2V conversion. And by the way, to get that BART PE, all you have to do is go to Google and just type in BART space PE. It'll take you to this BART's pre-installed environment, BART PE, bootable live Windows CD DVD. It's at this website, new2.new/PE builder. And if you go in here, you can read all about it, and there's a download section right here where you can go down and you can download the PE builder. Now notice that it's only 3 megabytes, and the reason for that is this builds the PE. You still have to provide your original Windows, operating system to build that BART PE, because they're not giving you Windows. They're not giving you an executable environment of Windows. They're giving you software that, with the help of your Windows CD, creates an executable environment for Windows. And then once you create that, you can use the imaging software like I did with Ghost, that I bought Ghost and I put it on my BART PE to make that bootable BART PE with Ghost. Of course, you could use another imaging software that you could install on BART PE. You could also use other methods of P to V conversions. You could use the Windows NT backup, backup and restore. So that's free. But there's a lot of different ways to do this, is my point. So in conclusion, we've reached the end of video number 8, where we talked about physical to virtual conversions, P to V conversions, physical servers to virtual servers. We learned about the Microsoft Solutions Accelerator for migrating and consolidating line of business applications. It's a great toolkit with lots of different tools and documents in there to help us prepare for, I would say, large-scale physical to virtual conversions. We learned about the virtual server migration tools, different ways to do it. Of course, installing cleanly and reinstalling your applications, then moving your data is always the best way. You could do it with NT backup. You could do it with imaging. You could do it with the Virtual Server Migration Toolkit from Microsoft, which is a little bit larger scale product requiring ADS and Windows 2003 Enterprise Server. And of course, there's commercial tools as well available for performing P2V conversions. And then in our scenario, we actually performed a P2V conversion using BART PE and Ghost, and you saw exactly how that worked step by step. So that's the end of video number 8. Thank you very much.